If you are struggling with being productive, you find yourself setting goals you really want to achieve, but you are still failing day by day to actually get started on working on those goals, then this video is for you. The results we see in our lives and accumulation of our daily habits and decisions. So if you want to change, the trajectory of your life or what you are seeing in your life, you need to get back to the basis of looking at your daily habits and improving them. Building wealth, making a lot of money is actually a habit. And in this video, I will share with you 5 small habits that you can start today to improve your productivity. And these habits will be relevant to you if you are a student, you work a 9 to 5, or you run your own business. The first habit is deciding what the most important things you want to achieve tomorrow is before you go to bed today. In a given day, there are 1,000,001 different priorities coming up and begging for your attention. Everything seems urgent in the moment. But to be very honest, amongst all the different priorities or urgent tasks that come up in a day, very few of them are truly important. The most important task of every day is those tasks that lead you towards your goal. And many times when we are in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the day, it is very, very easy for us to forget what is my priority? What should I be focusing on in this moment? That is why taking time out before we are in those crazy situations to decide what our priorities are can be very important. And I personally like to do this at the end of every day. I have this very tiny jotter, and at the end of every day, I just take 5 minutes to reflect and ask myself, if tomorrow was a productive day, if tomorrow was a successful day, what is the one thing that I would have done? And asking myself this question really forces myself to think about what I'm trying to achieve. Once I've written out what the most important thing for the next day is, then all I have to focus on is achieving that one thing. And this really helps if you are someone that gets overwhelmed and you also get very busy. Giving myself just one thing to do allows me to enjoy the feeling of being productive. So let's say that I decided yesterday that the most important thing for me to do today was to film this YouTube video. Once I film this YouTube video, I have achieved my goal for today. No matter what else happens today, I can go to bed today feeling successful, knowing that I have done the most important thing that I said to myself to do. By achieving these little goals, it builds my confidence, it changes my self-image. I begin to see myself as a productive person. And the more you see yourself as a productive person, the more likely you are to behave like a productive person. So this is a very small habit. It takes 5 minutes every day to determine what the most important thing for you to do is, but the benefits can be far-reaching. The second habit for productivity is to have deep work sessions every day. Deep work is work that you do in a state of flow. Everybody has experienced states of flow. You may have experienced it when watching a nice movie. You are just so enthralled in the movie. Every other thing, pales in comparison. You forget every other thing in your environment and you are so focused on that goal. Some people experience states of flow naturally when they are reading books or when they are talking with their friends. In a state of flow, your concentration is acute. You are focused on whatever it is engaging you in that moment, and you are more likely to be creative and do your best work when you are in a state of flow. Now, we want to consciously enter into states of flow. You have an important deadline coming up, or you have something that is important for you to do, and you find yourself just getting distracted. You find yourself unable to focus. Maybe you're studying for an exam or you're preparing for an interview tomorrow. The way to engineer states of flow in your life is to have what I call deep work sessions. Pick a time in the day, pick a fixed duration, so maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour. I recommend that you start small in the beginning, and in that period only focus on one thing. So you can give yourself 30 minutes. You say, today, no matter what happens, I'm going to spend 30 minutes, on this task. And in that 30 minutes, do nothing else. The only thing you want to focus on is the matter at hand. I use deep work sessions a lot, especially when I'm finding it really hard to motivate myself to do that thing. I make YouTube videos on these channels regularly, but you'll be shocked if I tell you that coming up with video ideas, planning the videos, and actually scripting the videos can be very difficult for me. I find myself being distracted anytime I sit down to plan a video, and because of that, I procrastinate on that a lot. But what I do now is I set a timer for myself. I give myself 30 minutes, and in 30 minutes I sit down and focus on only one thing: plan a video. And most times what you will see if you try it is when your timer runs out, you would have actually entered into a state of flow that will be very difficult for you to come out of. So many times I start with 30 minutes, and before I know it, I've spent 2 hours just researching, planning, and thinking about that video. It's very easy to do, as I said. Pick a time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, set a timer on your phone, on your laptop or something, and just focus on one thing. It has a lot of benefits, and the major benefit is that you will be massively productive. Whatever you're procrastinating on right now, imagine that you spend 30 minutes every day working on that thing. You will go further ahead than where you currently are. Third very simple habit that can be very life-changing, especially if you are someone who gets distracted easily, is to keep a distraction journal. Now, what's a distraction journal? You know what a journal is, and you know what distraction is. It's basically a place where you put down everything that is distracting you in the moment. I use a distraction journal a lot, especially when I'm praying, I'm meditating, or I'm doing deep work. So it's very easy to eliminate external distraction. It's easy to put your phone on silence, go to a quiet room, but many of us also experience a lot of internal distractions. I know that I experience that a lot. So I sit down to pray or I sit down to meditate, and in that moment, my brain reminds me that I need to order, a spoon on Amazon, or I need to send an email to XYZ person. And in the past, immediately the thought comes into my mind. I get very distracted. I stop whatever I'm doing and I follow that thought to wherever it's leading me. Having a distraction journal helps me close the loop in my brain. Because, to be very honest, when those thoughts come into my mind, that is my brain trying to help me make sure that I do what is important. That is my brain reminding me of tasks that I had stored there in the past. So by taking out those thoughts and putting them down on paper, I'm able to close the loop in my brain. I'm able to tell my brain, I understand. Thank you for reminding me. I've got it, right? So anytime I'm doing anything important, I always have this little journal. It's a very tiny book beside me. And so let's say I'm making this video, or I'm planning the video, or I'm praying or meditating, and a thought comes into my mind to, throw the trash, or to return my packages, or to send a message to somebody, or to reply somebody's text. What do? I immediately just take a note and I write whatever is distracting me down. And once I write it down, I put it aside and I focus again back on what I'm doing. This is a very tiny habit that would increase your focus tremendously. By keeping that down, you capture whatever your brain is trying to remind you, and you can get back to it at a set time. I encourage you to really try this. Everybody that I know who I have told about it and they've tried it has reported back to me that it has been life-changing for them. The fourth habit that you definitely need if you want to be productive and successful is carving out at least 15 minutes a day to reading. There's a popular saying that goes, leaders are readers. Look at any millionaire, any billionaire in the world. They will all tell you that reading is a very important habit that they engage in on a regular basis. When you read, you are exercising your mind. You are improving your imagination, your logic skills, and your memory. Reading also expands your mind to things that are beyond your current environment. I may be a finance person, but if I pick up a book about neuroscience, I'm able to learn, gain an entry, gain insight into a field that is very different from what I'm currently doing. If I don't read that book, I may never know anything about neuroscience that may be helpful. When I tell people that I read a lot and I try to read at least one book a month, right? People are like, oh my God, that's a habit that I want to do. And reading a book a month, reading a book a week seems like, an impossibility. But just taking out time every day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to read 2 pages of a book can yield a lot of results. And this is very simple to do. I'm sure everybody has 15 minutes a day. This could be when you're eating breakfast, or on your commute to work or something. You can just spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes reading a book. The key is for you to do it every single day. That way it compounds. If you read for 15 minutes a day, most likely you'll be able to finish a book in a month at the minimum. And the way to get started is to read whatever interests you. You don't have to start by reading business books. You don't have to start by reading personal development books. You can start by reading fiction. Look at whatever story that you like. It could be romance, it could be horror, it could be sci-fi, anything. The key is just to read. Reading is a habit, and you can only build a reading habit by actually committing to reading. The fifth small habit that will definitely make you very productive is journaling. Yes, taking time out every day to put your thoughts, how you're feeling on paper can go a very, very long way in making you productive and just a successful person in general. Neuroscience and psychology has found that our actions and behaviors that we are aware of is just 10% of what goes on in our mind. Our mind, our behavior, our habits are actually formed by our unconscious mind. These are things that you don't actively think about. Think about it this way: you're watching this video right now, your heart is beating, your kidneys are working, hopefully, there are many organs in your body currently undergoing millions of processes that you are not conscious about. It's the same thing with the mind. There are many thoughts, processes, behaviors, perspectives that you have, that you currently carry, that you are not aware of. But the fact that you are not aware of it doesn't mean that these things do not rule your life. And many times these unconscious, parts of your mind, they come out to play in how you show up in the world. So two people can be presented with an opportunity, and those two people can react to those opportunities in different ways. One person may look at that opportunity and say, I can't do this, this is out of my scope. The other person may see the opportunity and be like, yes, definitely, I can do this. Right? The difference between those two people is their unconscious mind. This other person that says, I cannot do this, they have a programming running in their mind telling them that they can't do that. This other person has a programming also in their mind telling them they can definitely do that. Journaling is one way in which you can make the unconscious mind conscious. And the very simple way of doing this is take 5 minutes a day to just reflect on that day, right? Think about what were the most important things that happened that day. How did you react to them, and why did you react to them? The most important thing when you're journaling is to ask yourself why. So someone said something to you at work, it made you upset. Why did it make you upset? That is the key in making the unconscious mind conscious. And by making this habit of writing it down, over time, you begin to notice a pattern in your thinking. If you have a pattern of unhealthy, poor self-talk, you will begin to notice it on paper. If you have a boundary issue with someone, you'll begin to notice it as you put it down over time. And by becoming more self-aware of your unconscious wiring, you stand a higher chance of changing any limiting beliefs and mindset that you may have that may be standing in the way of you becoming successful. The last very, very tiny habit that will definitely help you to be productive is just by tidying up. Having a good, clear environment, a clean, clear environment is very, very important for your productivity. If your environment is very chaotic, you will struggle a lot to focus on one thing. So taking out the time at the end of the day or early in the morning to just tidy up your workspace, like having a clear desk, cleaning up your office, vacuuming the floors, this can go a long way in helping you retain focus. And if you have high focus, you are more likely to be productive. The easy way to always have tidy environment is to put things back in their original place immediately. So I take this jotter to record my thoughts. At the end of every day, I should keep this jotter back where it belongs. That way, my environment is always tidy and I don't have to take the extra strain of tidying it up every time. Let me know in the comment section below which of these habits resonates with you and you're going to practice it. And if you care a lot about achieving your goals, then you should definitely check out my video about the 12-week year goal setting system that I've used to consistently achieve my goals for the last 3 years. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.